Did you know that as of 2008, if you fly on one of the top 25 rated airlines, you have a 1 in 13.5 million chance of being in a fatal aircraft accident? You see them fly high above or depart the ground from an aircraft window, but have you ever wondered what exactly makes an airplane fly? They are one of the most interesting and important forms of transportation, yet a lot of people don't know their basic principles. Like the ocean, the atmosphere is a big motion of fluids that allows aircraft to operate there. As defined, lift is a force moving something upward from the ground or another surface. In the field of aviation, lift incorporates a much larger meaning and concept. As a pilot of over 200 hours, I'm certainly no stranger to lift and the forces that it affects. My interest in aviation inspires me to inform you and others about the fundamental principles of flight, what causes airplanes to fly, and how history has provided us with these answers. As a major part of the United States history, most people have a basic idea of the Wright brothers' first aircraft flight. What you probably didn't know is that a century earlier, French aviation pioneers known as the Montgolfier brothers made the first flight in a hot air balloon. Fast forward to the 1850s, and you have engineers such as Otto Lilienthal and Octave Chanute making the first successful glider flights. After countless gliding trials, many setbacks, and a bunch of trips to Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, the Wright brothers finally were able to have the right propeller design, thrust concept, and weather conditions to make their first flight attempt. As described in their biography, quote, on the morning of December 17, 1903, Orville made the first successful flight covering 120 feet through the air in 12 seconds. This single event would change the world's perception on flying and usher in unthinkable advances in aviation even to this day. The Wright brothers laid down the foundation for the next century. Now we will examine the same basic aerodynamics keeping modern-day aircraft in the air as it did for the Wright brothers. Before learning the 4 basic principles of flight, it is important to understand how an airfoil or wing works. As a natural tendency, this lower density air wants to equalize the higher density air surrounding the hot air balloon. Because of this natural tendency of equalization and mimicking the surrounding air, the lower density air inside the balloon creates lift because of the differential pressure. Aircraft wings work in the same way, but instead of using hot air, they rely on camber or the curvature of the wing surface. You can separate the wing into 2 portions, being the top and bottom curve. The top curvature of the wing, the airflow moves faster because it has a further distance to travel and therefore creates low pressure. The opposite is on the bottom of the wing. It has a shorter distance to travel and moves slower, creating higher pressure. This high pressure on the bottom of the wing wants to equal the lower pressure on the top of the wing, thus creates a upward lifting force. This is how the wing gets its lift and is one of the main principles in allowing airplanes to fly, but it's certainly not the only one. While the wing design is a large part of the aerodynamics process, you can't just strap a wing on anything and expect it to fly. The 4 main forces of flight also determine if and how an airplane will fly. The 4 main aerodynamic forces are lift, weight, thrust, and drag. Each of these forces play an important part in allowing airplanes to fly through their equilibrium. This equilibrium between the different forces can be described as and related to Newton's 3rd law of motion, which states to every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. An aircraft must create enough lift to support the entire weight of the aircraft, baggage, fuel, passengers, etc. If there's too much weight in one portion of the aircraft than the other, the airplane will not be able to fly. This is the same for thrust and drag. If there is not enough thrust to overpower the drag of the plane, then the aircraft will not be able to lift. In all, the dynamic concepts such as flight can be simplified into the principles of lift and other forces. You have now seen the basic aerodynamics that keep aircraft flying stable. Society has come a long way since the Wright brothers and the world of aviation has advanced in the past 50 years. With ever-changing airfoil designs and more efficient thrust concepts, the aircraft of our time get enhanced beyond our imagination. I envision flight much as the aviation pioneer Otto Lilienthal did when he said, "No one can imagine how substantial the air is until he feels its supporting power beneath him. It inspires confidence." Thank you. Any questions?
No.
Thank you.
Good presentation.
Thank you for your attention.
Good job.